Today we're going to be doing some more filming, a lot of content here. I'm also recording on I'm also recording for YouTube basically. So you're watching this video before it gets posted, basically behind the scenes, a lot more of the crap and how it goes down. All right. So today's video is going to be Pacific Chill, Pacific Aura, or Rare Reef. Let's talk about it. There we go. What's up, you guys? I'm starting this episode. I'm currently filming right now. So as I told you guys, here we are. Let's go. So I've got some shout outs to Lucas Mason. What's up, baby? How you doing, man? So let's go ahead. I'm gonna just go ahead and get started, okay? I'm recording this video. It's a requested, you'll find out. Here we go. This is a video that was highly requested by a lot of you guys out there. Neeb, which one's better, Pacific Aura by Rehan or Rare Reef by Afnan? So today I'm going to be diving into which one smells like what, which one gets closer to Pacific Chill, and then we're going to end it off with the subjective opinion as to which one I like more. So first things first is Pacific Chill dupes and inspos. There's probably about, I would say, a good 8 right now. Some of which started off with like the Luciano, and there was like the Mason. I'm sure Latafa did their version. Everybody did their version of Pacific Chill. They just straight up decimated the name of Chill. There was Chili Pacific. There was everything under the sun you can think of. There was even Pinus. Just when you thought the names couldn't get any weirder, there was a straight Pinus. And that thing gave me about 5 hours, 6 hours. It was one of the closest ones and might still be. However, since then, a couple of fragrances that have come out that are arguably better, and I would personally say are better, because I quantify better in multiple different ways. So let's just go ahead and get started with the first fragrance on this video, which although released first was the Rehan Pacific, I'd like to start with the Afnan's Rare Reef. So this fragrance in itself is being introduced as like a Pacific Chill clone, except you guys, it is, if you're going in it for a clone, you will be disappointed. So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that this is pretty far off from Pacific Chill. The DNA of it is absolutely there, but what's also there is like this fuzzy musk texture, and it's quite, consistent with what I smell in Ambrette. It's fuzzy, it's a little dry, you even get like this suede-like undertone. Not to mention this atomizer is pretty damn, look at that atomizer. It's like opens up like a star. It actually atomizes pretty similarly to how the top opens. The other thing about this one is that it has a little bit more of a sweet factor to it, and it doesn't necessarily capture the same style of sweetness that you'll get from like dates. A lot more citruses. Oh, I can taste that. And pretty far off from Pacific Chill in itself. I would call this a twist at best. The other thing about it that kind of signs this one off as a twist at best is that this was perfumed by Lucas Suisak, who made Afnan's, Reflection Man, etc. So this doesn't necessarily mean that they don't make twists, right? Even perfumers will make a twist. But it in itself was used as like a starting point. It wasn't necessarily like, hey, make Pacific Chill. So I'm going to answer this as objectively as possible with all facts, basically. This is not the closest clone, nor was it intended to be that, okay? And we're talking even from a brand standpoint. Like, this was not intended to be the best clone, all right? It's a twist. Yeah, the closest thing you'll get to the Pacific Chill is that like juicy and melon accord, but even then it's not as juicy, having a fuzzy textured suede, and then also more citruses. It doesn't have that same style of dates, nor the same style of, I guess you could argue and say it has the apricot fuzzy texture, but it's emphasized a lot more. I also don't get as much on the mint on this one either. So different. It's significantly different, okay? So, Afnan's Rare Reef. In terms of its projection and its performance, I would not expect anything more than 6 to 7 hours tops, okay? And even the way that this one smells as it dries down, you're gonna get more of like this musky aura. It's a lot more drier and as I stated earlier, musky. And that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna over-complexify it because that's it. I mean, as of now, especially the Pacific Chill Clone War, what more needed to be said? Like, you've watched some clones, you've watched Pacific Chill, you've watched the Clone War, and now you're probably here trying to find out whether or not these are better. And I don't blame you, because even after that Clone War, you guys see, we've had 3. And I'm telling you right now, one of these might suffice. Speaking of sufficing, this is called Pacific Aura. Another one that truly cuts everything I've grown to know Rehan to be. So initially with Rehan fragrances, a lot of people thought they were mediocre at best. And I can completely understand that because there was Pacific, it smelled like another Invictus Aqua. And there was one that I personally loved. It's called Imperia. It smells like an Aventus inspo. It was perfect for me. It wasn't overbearing, but it smelled very smooth. It got me a shit ton of compliments when I was working in the hospital. Unfortunately, it got a little bit of bad blood or bad light, and a lot of people were just hating on it. So I kind of left that one alone for some time. And since then, they've dropped a couple fragrances, and I haven't touched many of them until this right here. And I'm glad I did. Because this fragrance in itself smells a lot like Pacific Chill, yes, but it also has its differences as well. So right off the bat, is it the closest clone? No. And it's because it has a lot of pros, in my opinion. Now, whether or not it's a pro, it's completely up to you. But this is what I believe it to have in its pros. Number one is the concentration. This stuff literally right out of the box on first atomization, it's like oily. Like there is a shit ton of oil on this fragrance, okay? So that in itself was pretty indicative of the fact that this thing, and it's long lasting as shit, and it's one of the only ones that got like a, I don't even know if you want to call it a compliment. Somebody asked me if that was me, and that's pretty much it. That's where it ended there. But needless to say, I don't need the compliments to enjoy this fragrance because I personally love it. I think it's one of the best ones from Louis Vuitton. This is stronger, and with that comes a slight difference in its scent profile, and what it changes is basically going to be the fact that this smells sweeter in the dates. It doesn't have the same focus on the basil, I believe it is. And also the mint, according to this one, it seems also not as naturalistic, obviously, right? Well, it's really not that obvious considering the fact that at this price point, we can get better quality mints, but not at the $40 range. That's just not really that. It's not possible, at least right now. I might be eating my own words in the future because the advancements in technologies, we end up having something that's crazy. So right off the bat, the performance for this one is never less than 7 hours, never less than. And that's all I'm gonna say about it because there's some times where I've gotten 9 to 10 hours, sometimes I've gotten 8, but never less than 7. And it's important to note that I was sweating my fucking ass off and it still lasted. And with sweating, with high temperatures, the evaporation rate increases and the fragrances dry off faster and they evaporate much quicker, right? But even then, it still lasted long. Also, it's so damn addicting. The juicy nature of the fragrance just makes you almost feel like my mouth waters when I smell this. It's almost thirst quenching. So with that being said, which one of these is the closer one to Pacific Chill? In all honesty, I would say that this one, Pacific Aura, is about 5 to maybe 10% closer. This one veers off significantly. I mean, I wouldn't call this a dupe at all. I would not call this a dupe at all. Yeah, there's some Pacific Chill in there, but that's it. This, you can clearly tell it's an attempt at Pacific Chill, and whether or not you value the dupe or the twist and what you're looking for, what your purpose is in purchasing one of these is going to dictate and determine whether or not this one or this one is better for you. Now, with that out of the way, the performances and the objective reality is that this one doesn't last as long as this one. But then again, the scent profile of this is a lot more juicy. It's a lot more of like this bubbly and even youthful profile. Whereas this seems a bit more sophisticated, even a little elevated because of its fuzzy and musky texture. So 8 hours, better performance. Decent performance, it's still above average. Now, if you ask me, if I had to do it again, I'd pick Aura every single time. Because me, personally, I love Pacific Chill, and I'm always looking for a way to make this shit last even longer. I had a bad experience with one fragrance brand that made a Pacific Chill inspo, and unfortunately, I recommended it, and they ended up sending a bunch of fucking bahur that wasn't even the fragrance. And since then, I always knew it could be done, but why hasn't a brand made a beastly version of it? That's not beast mode, but in comparison to Pacific Chill, it's pretty damn beastly. And for $40, it was absolutely worthy. And even then, there was a little bit of like this notion of like, do I even talk about it? Because a lot of you guys are like just like shitting on Rehan. And I get it how it looks. A lot of these influencers are like, yeah, like Rehan. I get it. But this is worth talking about. It's worth grabbing if you like Pacific Chill. So the reason I picked this is for 2 easy factors. I love Pacific Chill and I love fucking performance. And that for this in its realm for freshies, it absolutely annihilates. Now Rare Reef, it's still a good buy, but it's a completely different purpose. I don't enjoy it as much as Pacific Chill because Pacific Chill in itself is something that I really love. This kind of reminds me of something in between of, imagine if you were to take like that fuzzy texture of like Bois Imperial and infuse it a little bit with Pacific Chill. That woody, airy, musky texture with that. It's still a great fragrance. It's definitely different. And if you wanted to grab both, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's going to be redundant by any means. However, for me personally, I would pick this. Simple as that, man. A great fragrance, but this is just a badass fragrance. And it's the end of this video. So if you ask me, that's what I think. Otherwise, pay attention to everything else I said and you make your own decision. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, and make sure to join the next live so you can watch. Bro, which one lasts 5 hours? Great stuff. I appreciate it. Yo, what's good? Wazita still being worked on. Zara, the most wanted EDP. All right, have a good day. And in that video. Give me a second, you guys. Essence de Blanc better than Khadlej Karas. I would personally say so. But you know what I think is even like this? So I look at user feedback, and everybody that's been giving feedback has been enjoying this the most, the Marwa. This has been people's choice every single time. It's called Marwa by Arabiyat. And honestly, I can see it. The quality control, the level of the juice, the soapy nature of it, it's an excellent fragrance. You're still watching me? It's called Marwa. It's imagination. All right, enough. All right, let's see what the next video is. What is the next video? Next video is... Oh shit, the new Myself Absolute is at my crib. Mazaj, I haven't tried that one. Aura, there's no... How many times do you spray it? Where do you live, in hell? No offense, I'm just messing. Rare Reef versus Aura. For me, I never got less than 7 hours. Okay, I got that one done. If Armani. Best of Armani. Okay. A designer... No. What do I want to say? Okay. If I were to pick the most well-blended or balanced brand, it would be Armani. Here's why. Let's go. What's going on, guys? My name is Neve. Welcome back to AROMATIX. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite designer houses, Armani. And it's for a very specific reason. It's because every single time they've dropped a new fragrance, I've been excited. That's pretty much it. No, I'm just playing. But if you look over the portfolio of Armani fragrance, you can see that they've served a multitude of different purposes. They've served those of you who are into fresh. There's those of you who are into gourmands, and then finally some of the classics. And I think that they have a lot of fragrances that are kind of swept under the rug, if you will. But they've, through time and time, and even through my own experience, have always focused on giving you guys a palette of multiple different scent profiles and purposes. Okay, you can argue and say that the trend of the new elixirs are just crazy. No, I'll argue and say this, actually. The new elixirs are kind of crazy in terms of the price points. And we're getting less juice for much more expensive prices. Like, you know what? All right, let's shrink the bottles and let's just tack on another $100, shall we? So I don't agree with that point, okay? But at discounters, maybe you can find it for like $80 less. But I will say that the scent profiles are absolutely different. And in the case of like stronger, in the case of for the price increase, I don't justify the entirety of the price increase, but I can absolutely sense where the increase is coming in quality. So it kind of correlates in some aspects in one way or another. And we're gonna be talking about some of the fragrances and some of the best fragrances of Armani and how it fulfills that palette of multiple different tastes and occasions, etc. Starting off with one of the classics, Armani Code. Armani Code is a legacy of a fragrance. It's something that I've grown up remembering on multiple people in my life, many of the men in my life, my older cousins, my uncles, and even my father, and my older brother-in-law. And I remember every man that had his shit together smelled like Armani Code. And if you're old enough to remember, it was kind of the go-to fragrance for the office, for the gym, and everything in between. And since then, it's released a lot of successful fragrances, which unfortunately got pretty, shadowed because the industry, at least during the time of these releases, wasn't really crazy about fragrance. They released a lot of gems like Armani Code Profumo, which I bought like 6 bottles of. I was obsessed. A creamy mandarin leather and that sexy ass tonka bean that kind of made this classic gentleman fragrance a lot more youthful. I was gonna say euthanized. but they euthanized basically this one. It's done, it's gone. And this is also a long ass lasting fragrance that I could smell to the next day on clothing. Fortunately, I have more bottles than I'll ever use in a lifetime, but that's pretty much it. And after that came another well-known and loved favorite, which I also bought another bottle of, and you guys watching are probably really jealous right now, Armani Code Absolute. Now this is the most popular one in the last, I would say, 5 years from the Armani Code lineup. So after of which they slowly started dying in terms of traction, and it kind of became like this pretty universal style of DNA where it was simple. It's powdery, it's woody, and it's tonka bean. It got boring, man. And after that, we entered into an era and a realm of just blue fragrances. Like every guy and his dad smelled like Bleu de Chanel, okay? But after that, a lot of people started craving more sweet fragrances. And even in that realm, Armani as a whole started still tailoring or catering to those audiences. So where there was those blue and fresh, they started to focus in on the Acqua di Gios. And we had a lot of other successful releases from the Acqua di Gios, like the Absolute, and then we also had some of the other ones like the Eau de Parfum, the Absolute Instinct, and they tried a bunch of fucking darts that they just hit on a wall and it just didn't seem to stick. Although through those darts on the wall, a lot of them were very, very good. Just unfortunately approached at a wrong time. For example, this hidden gem, right? Well, not really hidden, you guys know it. Which was Acqua di Gio Profumo. And thank God I got this big ass bottle, but I'm probably never gonna use this either. A heavy dose of patchouli, also that olibanum with that aquatic style of DNA. Something a bit more masculine and still classic than something like Bleu de Chanel. While they're both very successful fragrances, I think they stood toe to toe and really giving you the opportunity to enjoy something that was still sweet and classic, while at the same time grabbing another fragrance of the aquatic and fresh line. And even for those of you who craved something a bit more blue, then they offered something like this, the Profundo and the Pro whatever. And it came to like the 5 or 10 years where they were literally just dropping flanker after flanker after flanker. And it was like every single brand was just like, here, here, here. It was like, all right, man, that's enough. That's enough. And it kind of got boring. And it got washed out, and a lot of releases basically got watered down. But at the same time, even then, in my opinion, more uniquely than other brands, they also offered something pretty damn unique. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but Stronger With You, the original, came in a time and an era where it was a lot more like towards musky and woody scent profiles, and where you went either just fresh or a little leather and masculine. But then came in something with chestnut, and very, very pivotal for the market. If you guys don't remember, they were one of the first to do that chestnut DNA and really succeed with it. Sure, there might have been other DNAs or other, indie brands, etc., but we're talking about on a mainstream level. And since then, the Stronger With You DNA has really developed into something that can tailor or that catered to many different tastes. I personally love Stronger With You, and I started to get even more into this DNA and find new favorites. So today, I want to talk more specifically on the absolute best ones of each line that you can get today. So, starting off with the Acqua di Gio, the Armani Code. It's hands down the elixir. Now, a lot of times I was thinking to myself, maybe it's gonna be Armani Code Parfum because I personally love the inclusion of the iris. But then this brought something a lot more classic back. It quite literally reminds me of this backbone DNA with a lot more richness. It seems like rather than using just straight up tonka, it's almost on the borderline of like a tonka absolute. So if you want to remember what this smells like with a lot more depth and richness, this is a really good one. Now, sure, you're probably gonna spend $40 more for less than half of the bottle, and that sucks. But it is what it is. Performance and longevity for this one, I'm not gonna promise you guys anything more than 8 hours either. On clothing, you might get that that supple leather, because that's exactly what I personally would quantify it as. It's still a creamy leather with a coating of this powdered tonka bean. So something sweet, resinous, even slightly vanillic with a leather texture to it. Other than that though, the scent profile and the depth of the increased concentration, I would assume, the Parfum versus, the fuck is this? Parfum, they're both Parfums, man. Okay, drop your prices, guys. The end. It's a good fragrance. It's the same concentration for less amount of money. I think that's fucking crazy. I'm just gonna go on record saying that I think that's fucking crazy. The scent profile is a little different. It does smell richer, but it's still a Parfum. What can I say there, Armani? It's a good fragrance. That's it. It's the best one right now. If you can find this, grab it. But otherwise, this is the next best thing, honestly. I wish they would give a bigger bottle for a better price. That's it, going on record for that. Moving on to the next one in the Aqua de Jo lineup. Now there are two very close contenders, one of which I can't offer anymore or say because unfortunately it's discontinued. And even this, I was never crazy about it. But if I had to pick one out of the entire thing, this is an Oriental version of the Aqua de Jo, the most Oriental of them all. And so I'm looking for something that's aquatic, that's fresh, but maybe reminds me a little of home, and more importantly, lasts the entire fucking day. So it would be between with this one. God bless you. Thank you for the super chat. Shout outs to, by the way, you guys can join this on a live stream, which we're doing right now if you want to. Shout outs to Cent Score. I appreciate it. New channel where I see. That's what's up, bro. God bless you, man. And good luck with everything. Okay, so as I was saying, Asaf Wild Colt. Yeah, it's alright. They're all clones, Asafs. With this one, it lasted really long, and they reformulated because of some IFRA regulations with some kind of note of patchouli, or some kind of chemical compound that this had in it. So the rumors are. I haven't confirmed this myself, but maybe I will. Actually, maybe I will. So that's pretty much it. Then we had the Parfum, and the Parfum I personally love as well. Same style bottle, same color bottle, but they went from magnetic to click, and for those of you who are just fucking crybabies about it, we'll cry together. Anyways, moving on. The other one would be the Profundo, and it's the blue fragrance, just a straight up one, not the Parfum, okay? The best one is just the Profundo. And surprisingly, it lasts damn near the entire day, at least for me. Okay, they dropped a lot of these flankers. I would just say the Profundo is the best one out of all of them. But if I had to currently, today, pick, I sprayed this one on my forearm, and I could smell it literally for 11 hours yesterday, from the morning all the way to the point where I took a shower. It's the new one. It's the Aqua de Jo Elixir. And this is one where it's a Parfum concentration, but my God, it behaves like one. The addition of leather in a already fresh and semi-piney style of Aqua de Jo, you will smell this style of DNA with that addition of leather and one of the more longer lasting ones. The Central for this was amazing. So if you're looking for the best Aqua de Jo, I would personally say go for the Elixir, or next one up would be the Profundo. And simple as that. So now we've established that you have something that's masculine, mysterious, and sexy, and now you have something that's a daily driver and fresh and aquatic. And last but not least, you want to be even flirtier than that. You kind of want to have bad boy vibes. I would say go with the Stronger With You, but the Parfum. The top 4 Stronger With Yous, and you can't go wrong with them, would be the original. This one offers a slight hints of freshness, even more juvenile and youthful than the Intensely, which gives it just this borderline sickly sweet, but still super sexy and projecting. And then you would have the Absolutely, which is the bad boy vibes. And that's the reason why I kind of, emitted that one, is because we already kind of have the bad boy vibes. And lastly, the Parfum, which gives me aspects of the original Strong With You. Just seems like you took the original Strong With You and roasted it, quite literally. So those citruses is turned into something that's more sweet, honey-like, molasses, and just richer and denser, with even hints of this smoke nuance. And that's pretty much it. And that's why I personally love the brand of Emporio and Giorgio Armani. Big palettes to cater to, prices that could really go down, but it's not just them, you guys. I think that's a topic for another video, and talking about the industry and where the pricings have gotten. I think that the prices in general are just absolutely insane in comparison to what we're getting with the levels of juices. The qualities, I think across the boards have increased, you guys. I don't think that qualities were just omitted to Middle Eastern, that it's been improving, because even when we look at elixirs, sure, the concentrations are still parfums, but look at the ingredients being used. Rather than just a tonka bean, it's now a tonka bean absolute. Or it's like, rather than just rose, it's CO2 distilled rose. So these have more intensive and high labors, but is it worth that intensive and higher price tag? Now that's a topic for a different video, but I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you. And before I see you, make sure to follow for those live streams on neeb.life. This is probably the last day I do it there. And let me know down in the comment section, what's your favorite Emporio Armani or Giorgio Armani fragrance in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Woo. Yeah, you are, D. Shibo. What's your name? Debosho? What is that? Dobushimo? Go to sleep. Night, night. You win night, night, boy. Tobacco. I already did release a tobacco. The Royal Taboo, bro. What up? What's good, Javier? Starting with you intensely doesn't project. Mine does. Shit. Which intensely do you have? Dorsima Panadora is good. It's a jasmine fragrance. Walaikum salam, bro. Zumar. I think it's just another clone, bro, of some like bullshit fragrance. I love Dylan Blue, bro. Blueberry. Yeah, blueberry musk is the best one. Club de Nuit. Pure Parfum, for sure. Alhamdulillah, life is good, Perfume Network. How are you, bro? You good? We're doing a live stream of me recording my videos. Okay. Let's see. Which one do I want to record? Damn, I don't have it. Oh shit, I didn't do a full review for this. I mean, I kind of already put it in that list. What do you guys think? Should we fully review this shit or nah? I think that video was good enough. No, they don't have elixir concentrations, but this is called an elixir. It's just the name of the flanker. I appreciate you, Toys R Us. How are you? Yeah, the video worked. I think that's good enough for that video. Let's move on. I want to do like my most complimented cheapy fragrances of the ones on my table. These are all too new. I haven't gotten, this one I've gotten compliments, but that's only one. I didn't get compliments. Did I get, I did get compliments on this one. I bought a car. When buying my car. No, that's not enough. Fuck. Is Esed Bourbon good? Man, Lattafa's like quality is like stagnant. I haven't really messed with Lattafa in a long time. Tuesday dog appointment, I already did that. Cheap gym. Oh, gym fragrances. Let's do some gym. What do you guys think? Gym fragrances? What's up, Fry? All right. When will Xena? This should be coming soon. Liquid Brune is a banger. Here we go. Gym fragrances, what do you guys think? I always do cologne fragrances, bro. I appreciate that, Cole. No, okay. I get the feeling that y'all don't work out. Dumont Elixir is coming out. I think in the next month. And sure, Oud, worth it? Doesn't sound worth it, bro. We need to do freshies, right? We need to do more freshies. So I've got one here. Fudge, man. I don't feel like going upstairs. I already did like longest lasting freshies. I think I'm done for today. And I already talked about the new Invictus. Hey. Oh, I should have did the Rosasis. Coral Fantasy. Coral Fantasy is good. Yacht Mood, pass. I did not get it yet, Pink Panther. God bless you. Thank you for super chat, bro. How do I stop my fragrance addiction? The best way first off, you recognized it, right? I wouldn't necessarily say things that in life you have to stop, right? It's something you love, right? So manage it, control it. Don't try and stop it because you won't win. It's something you love. Why would you stop something you love, right? But the best way is to control it, right? Just like mothers love their children and they control the fuck out of them. No, it's fine. But it's all about balance, bro. It's all about balance. Set yourself a budget, right? For the month and then divide that into weekly. That way, every week you can reward yourself with one. Because if you try and go a whole month without buying fragrances, let's be real, you're gonna cave in. So take your monthly allowance and separate them into small chunks, and that's it. What's a good ice cream? I don't even know. One of my minis dropping. I would say it's in production right now, so probably in about 2.5 months. I'm working on getting it available in India, bro. It's such a process. Zena in UK. Zena is in UK right now, I think. Filled with Baraka and Elite aromas. Yes, minis. Minis for the AROMATIX line. What about a castor? Pass. Damn, I'm sorry, bro. What country are you in, Daniel? Do you like the new Versace? Which one? Le Sable Rose, I love. Yeah, I do love that. I want to grab it now. Bianco Latte is the best gourmand fragrance? No, I wouldn't say so. 6 foot, Jeff. Hello, Allah. How are you? I am making some for women, too. LV Imagination worth getting? I would say so, bro. Started content about 4 years ago. Maybe four and a little. Sweetest Gissa perfume. They don't really have sweet, bro. It's mostly aromatic and woody. Oh, Sava, but they discontinued it. Symphony worth getting? No way. No, bro. This way you only have $15 per week. Okay, well, you know what? Do it bi-weekly then. $30. You can find plenty of dupes for around that $30 range. So go with the $30, bro. And if you really want something that's a little bit more expensive, just allot yourself. Be like, okay, you know what? This week or this month, or I want like a niche fragrance. I'll do it once this month, you know? Strongest dupe you've tried? I'm not going to even answer that because it's always changing and there's always... And then you say one thing and it's like, oh my God, he's a fucking liar. He's dead. Nah. Rehan Lion, yeah, it's good. I don't really care because it's an old scent. Ophidian Mango, it's not bad. I mean, I like it, but it's definitely got like a Middle Eastern funk and oud at the dry down. It's not the closest. It's not bad though. Eros Flame in 2025, yes. Yes, I love the energy. I love the Eros energy, bro. YSL Wire Dylan Blue. Y is just easier, bro. Mahda Dhahab is awesome. Sweet. Sun Song, I have not. Actually, we spoke, AJ. And, who was it? To me. Or whatever. But anyway. Best Eros. There isn't a good Eros clone. Yo, God bless you. Shipping to Puerto Rico. Not on Shop AROMATIX. But God willing, we're working on getting them all available too there. Honor and Glory from Latafa. It's very polarizing. A lot of feedback has been that it's been a challenging scent for people to get into. So you're at your own risk. Hafna 9 p.m. is the best. All right. Ombre Leather Clone. There's quite a few. There's one called Cure Leather. There's another one by Afnan Rare Carbon. Those are pretty good. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.